Welcome everyone to the Watchlist, your virtual weekly TV guide right here on the Latin Nerds Network. Ready to go over all the shows get released on streaming, give you our best recommendations or non-recommendations as the case may be. And of course, at the end of the show, let you know what's coming out this week. So you too can create your very own watch list for yourself. We have here joining us as always is our co-host, El Señor Jaime, aka Chewy. What it is, what it was, what it shall be.
What it is, brother? What's going on?
Not a whole lot. Colombia lost yesterday. It was very disappointing.
Ah,
That's one less things to watch on TV, I guess. No more World Cup for us.
well, that's over for us again.
Oh, well. What
Damn
else
it.
is new?
Stupid England.
Yeah, but we're getting ready for fantasy football, regular
Well,
football.
this is true.
Country's
The heavy part of
exciting.
the year begins.
We're right weeks away from that, so good stuff. But in the meantime, there's other stuff you can, occupy your time with, particularly on your Sundays, since football doesn't quite start yet. So let's talk about before I actually get to the new shows. I know we reached a halfway point on the show. I know you're a big fan of, and that's Foundation on Apple Plus. It's entering its mid-season, second season anyway.
Hmm.
Sci-fi show, dealing with humanity, where we're at with thousands of years in the future, and et cetera, et cetera. Very heady show, very sci-fi driven show. I like the first season. I think you like the show more than I do overall. First season I thought was really good. It's a lot.
That's
It's dense.
that's a common pattern between us, dude. These sci-fi
Not
shows.
always. Was sci-fi show? Maybe. Perhaps you're right. Perhaps you're right. This it's a very dense show. So there's a lot to. There's a lot of
There's
tables
a lot
set
to
up. It
digest.
really is a lot. It's not a show you can just watch casually, right? You have to really get into it. But once you invested in it, it's a really well done, highly produced, very well show.
Hmm.
So thus far,
Well written show. I remember
yeah.
that. That's always a
So
key piece.
second season, about halfway through, five episodes,
Hmm.
six, I don't know, whatever,
Correct. Yeah, halfway through the
five.
season two.
So your thoughts on this one yet? Well,
Uh,
I know you probably really like the show, but anyway, elaborate.
no, not really. It's okay. It's all
All
right.
right, moving on.
It's meh.
Mid, the kids say mid.
Yeah. No, man. Like I said, it's a very, very, very good show. Must watch as far as I'm concerned. Obviously, based on the books, stories by Isaac Asimov, right? But here's a case where the what we get in TV is a lot better than what we ever got in the written word. And obviously, these novels were written back in the late 40s, early 50s. I mean, it's a long time ago, right? And so writing styles have changed, technology has changed and advanced. And so what he obviously he kind of reminds me a little bit. It's very dry material, and so it's not for everyone to go back. Well, let me go read it and enjoy it. I think you would enjoy the show more personally than that you were trying to go back and read all these books. And it's a lot of books, it's a lot of stories, it's a lot of history, right? I guess pseudo human history. But I think this season it's advanced really well, good pace. We'll get a lot more of the political machinations out of Game of Thrones, especially in the Empire portion of the show, which was a piece that we enjoyed from Game of Thrones, right? All the
Mm-hmm.
political intrigue behind not just the battles and the dragons, right? But you are a big fan of dragons, so that.
Come on.
Yeah, yeah. And so, but we're getting, and there's a lot less, I guess, flashbacks in this season because that's we would have picked it up about 200 years from the first season, plus or minus, right? 138, right, technically. But and the flashbacks we're getting are serving up as good exposition for some of the backstory on particular events, particular characters that are introduced into this season. But it's pretty free flowing, going straight narrative A to B to C. And so, like I said, a little bit different from last season, but still very good. So very well written, great dialogue, great ideas. Not a whole lot of plot holes or things that are just not there for convenience, for late, what we call lazy writing in some instances. And actually we're getting some pretty big reveals, right? Spoiler alert: the Harry Selvig character is alive again, or a version of him. We've introduced to the what they call, mechanics. I can't remember what the word they would use, but essentially, I guess people with heightened um, abilities to foresee things, right, or project things, right. And so we get a big reveal at the end of season 5, episode 5. But man, this is good. It's giving us enough of each arc, right? You have some episodes, one episode, it's some arcs, some other episodes to the other arcs, but trying to mix it all in together, still keeping the pace at the show going forward.
Yeah, I'm having the same feelings I had with the first half of last season. I'm not saying that's a bad thing. Still recommend if you like really heady sci-fi. This is a really great show to watch on Apple. But again, the time jump from the first and second season is kind of think helped and hurt the show in ways that the first, because the first one was setting up so much. And it seems like the second season is doing the same thing because the time jumped to 140 years or whatever. So we got a host of new characters and situations going on, and it's taking its time building it. I was hoping to kind of dive right into the gist of the overall story more for me. It's a lot. It's a lot. So we're learning new people. We're not spending enough time with the characters we knew because we're setting up new characters. So it takes away from that to some degree. But it's still good. Like I said, I'm hoping the second half finishes strong. Like the first season, I thought was the same way, where it's slow and then it really picked up. The second half for me, it really kind of brought it over. But I'm hoping it happens here. But it's really well done. It's still a very good show. I guess I'm not loving it, but it's very good. It's well made, and it's one I still recommend. 'Cause I think if you're into sci-fi, this is a borderline must watch in that genre, no question. But it's really good. I'm really enjoying it. It's a lot of good stuff. It's just a lot. It's a lot to get into, and it's very dense show. It's not a show you can sit there and watch and be on your phone or be distracted. I'm not saying that's a good.
No,
That's not a bad
well,
thing.
particularly this season because
Right. It's
you
a
have
good
to
thing.
understand what
Right.
happened. What's going on with the genetic
Of course,
dynasty
like I said,
and the
yeah, there's a lot.
changes.
There's a lot going on.
Yeah,
It's just fine. But one of those like if you're gonna sit down and watch this show, you have to sit down and watch the show. You
yeah,
start diddling around, you're gonna get lost, and it's gonna be confusing, hard to catch up. That could be a positive or negative depending on who you are. Some people like casual viewers. I get it. Maybe not for you. But if you're into that stuff, absolutely, it's an excellent watch on Apple Plus. Let's get into this week. Not like you're right, not a big week. Next couple weeks aren't really big weeks anyway.
Mhm.
But let's start with documentaries. We had one coming out on Hulu, a docu-film, but an hour and 20 minutes long. Not too bad. Sound of the Police. This one here is basically a documentary about the authority or police authority on the black communities, dating back from the slave times up to the current days, of course, and the situations that we find themselves, police brutality and killings, and et cetera, et cetera. George Floyd, you name it, it's on there. This one, obviously, enjoyable. Pretty much is exactly what I expected it to be for the most part. I guess some interesting perspectives on, so you don't even think about the police and it dating back so far and how long this has been going on, right? This bias or, discrimination, whatever you want to label it, that's been going on since the slavery days, and the police instituted to monitor slave behavior up to now, right? How the mentality's kind of stuck around and using a lot of the older 50s, 60s, 70s TV shows to kind of portray a version of the police. I found that interesting perspective I never thought about before. I was like, oh, that's fascinating. So it introduced a lot of cool things that I didn't think about, and that's a good documentary should do. I enjoyed it. It's good. It's hard hitting, no doubt about it. Chew, your thoughts?
No, well, I agree 100%. I found this to be. I mean, I love watching documentaries that not only entertain but inform
Sure.
and show me something new, right? And obviously, a lot of this history is not. It's not. It's unless you are a true historian where you would do your research and go to various sources. This is not something you're going to hear about, find out about, even know about, right? Some of the women I have no idea of the, I guess, the police institution and how it really began in this country,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so it does a very good job of succinctly giving you that history, right? It's not meant to be a history show, but you
Yeah.
have to lay out the context of where we are today to how did all this begin,
Mm-hmm.
right? And have an honest and open discussion and assessment of that idea and how it's transpired to what it is today, right? Where you kind of see, where something's built on a faulty foundation, it doesn't just go away. It perpetrates that institution to where it is now, and so it's hard to, I guess, break that cycle. Or you have to acknowledge before you can actually make something, make it better, right,
Right. Of
or
course. Yeah.
fix
Yeah.
what the problem is,
Yeah.
right. But they gave us early history, which was, like I said, eye opening for me. To even some of the when they brought in the piece about the police unions and what that came about and what they were trying to do, right. And because I think that was a great line in there saying everyone hates change. When they see change, they
Yeah.
call it radical and they call it all these weird things, but because they like status quo. and status quo works for them. And even when it got into a little bit of when there is a police shooting, what is the MO for the unions, right? Demonize the victim immediately, right? It wouldn't have happened if they hadn't done this. And they, they gave us a couple of examples. And in my mind, it's like, that's exactly what I hear every time in the news, right?
Yeah.
Something happens, and whose fault is it? Well, it's got to be the victims, the person who got shot. It's always their fault, right? And like I said, you have to look at each case individually,
Right,
but
and I
you
think that,
hear this narrative again and again
yeah,
and
I think
again.
that's the only thing. Listen, this is not. I don't like one-sided documentaries. This wasn't that exactly. This wasn't a we hate the police. The police are the worst thing ever. It's not
No.
that, right? And they're not shitting on the police. There's even one of the um, historians or whatever educators talking about. Not everything's bad, but the whole scenario with putting blame, right, or it's that person's fault. There are times when yes, that is true, right? I think that's something that could have been explored and how that aids in feeding into the mentality of the authorities,
Mm-hmm.
right? But that being said, either way, it's
But the
really, really
bias
good.
is there. It's
No, no,
just
no,
the
no question.
bias
Yeah, the
has
bias
been
is there,
there
of
and
course.
has
Oh, of
still
course.
there.
Yeah, the
I mean,
stereotypes are
they
there
had
and
the
all.
one
Yeah.
example, and I remember this from a couple of years ago, the mall fight, right? Two kids,
Yeah, exactly.
who
Absolutely.
gets into it, and immediately, how does the police react?
Oh,
Right,
yeah,
and they would, I
absolutely.
mean,
Yeah.
it cleared it. They take the white kid, they sit him down, they don't even look at it. They say, sit here. He
Yeah.
and when they see him come in a position where he's being the aggressor and the guy's on the floor,
Mm-hmm.
right? But immediately, what do? They grab the white boy, sit him down, just they tell him to sit there, right?
Right,
He even
and the
stands
black
up
kid's getting
and
like,
like looking down
they're on top of him.
and literally treating the black kid as garbage,
Mm-hmm.
right? Get put him on his knees, put him in handcuffs. I was like, wait a minute, how could anyone come into the situation and make any kind of assessment without asking a single question? Okay, who's at fault? What's going on? They just react, and they react based on what their bias is, right, and what their
Oh, of
internal
course, no,
feelings,
no doubt, no
which
doubt.
is it
Yeah.
could be it's so ingrained, it's unconscious, right?
And that's
Because
the key,
they
right? And that's
yes,
something that I think they could have touched on a little bit more. I don't think they quite did that. Um,
yes,
but that being said, it's still well made. It's still very good.
yes,
Excellent,
very very
great,
well.
great watch on again on Hulu. But now in 20 minutes, not long. I learn a lot. When I learn something, I put it on stuff that things that we currently talk about in the news and etc. The media. Oh, I didn't look at it this way. It gives it other perspectives. Very interesting. Very well done. So yeah, a
And
good
the good
recommend.
thing is that they bring in perspectives from former police officers,
Right. Agree.
right?
Yeah.
That's just the big. I mean, they're bringing in everyone. They're bringing these
Sure.
old, like you said, these 50s and 60s TV shows and producers and
Mm-hmm.
stuff, and how things were trying to be portrayed. And they had the one episode from Dragnet where they tried to explain why these two black people were getting pulled over in their neighborhood. And they expect, obviously it's Hollywood eyes,
Of
right? Because
course.
they're trying to paint themselves in the best picture possible, but
Obviously.
they get into the riots of the 60s and
Mm-hmm.
even to the riots back in the 1920s, right? The Red Summer, what they call it. Which again, this is not stuff you hear, or find out about, right? Until you
Right.
see some of these documentaries and you get educated about our history, our real history.
Yeah, exactly. So definitely, yeah, good recommend. This is a really good watch. Again on Hulu. Currently, the only film release is going to that is one on Netflix, which time to roll that die. We know how Netflix does it. Could be shit.
Is this Clay Clone Tyrone
Is
or is
this
it
right? Right? Like I always say,
the
right?
Kissing Booth 1, 2, and 3?
Right. Exactly. So we have when the
But in
Netflix
all
pie,
fairness, they
right?
made three, so somebody was watching.
So, someone watched it, of course. But the pie, right? The Netflix pie, 10%, like legitimate good movies, like the Tyrone or the Clone Tyrone, which is really good. Really well done, legitimate good films, right? 30-40% just garbage, just nonsense, and about another 40-50% just eh, watchable, passable,
On the
whatever,
phone.
right?
Yeah.
So Heart of Stone, we got Gal Gadot, of course, Wonder Woman, well, not anymore, but was of Wonder Woman fame. This is a kind of a action thriller, a Impossible esque kind of thing where she is a part of MI6, a team. She's like a computer geek, not really a field agent per se, but unbeknownst to everybody, she's actually a spy for another organization called the Charter, which is a independent, kind of something we saw in what's the show on Amazon
Citadel.
Prime, Citadel. An
I had
independent,
that
yeah,
same
the same
feeling.
kind of
Yeah.
vibe, right? They just it's his own organization. They answer to nobody, but they're out to do good, right? So she's infiltrated MI6 to complete a job. No one knows it, of course, and things escalate, and all hell breaks loose, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Trying to save the world, AI and all that, which is the big thing, which is why I mentioned Mission Impossible. Was that movie dealt with that?
Mhm.
So this one here hasn't been getting a lot of good play. The reviews have not been kind. I'm gonna say that's a little unfair. I'll put it right now. This is not a great movie. It's not an oh my god, you have to watch it. Is the 40-50% of just it's fine. It's passable. It's Mission Impossible light, or the third world country Mission Impossible. I'll say not nowhere near as good as right. But it's got those some elements. It's cool action. I like Gal Gadot. I think she's really good. She's coming into her own. We saw her in things like Red Notice, which is another okay, entertaining, right? With the Rock.
Red Notice. That was very funny, man.
But that was I thought was more entertaining than this film, because you have the humor factor with Reynolds and Rock who are great. But it's solid. It's solid film. Some cool. I like that cool gadgets. I like the whole AI, the computer thing that they use is really interesting. Good things about it. It's fun. It's entertaining. A little long. Could cut down 20 minutes. But that being said, it's watchable. Not as bad as you may think. And on Netflix, this is in line with a lot of the action films where they just okay with 2 hours. It's free and you move on. Chew your thoughts.
No, like I said, this is a middle of the road action film, entertaining, but not great, but not. I mean, a lot better than some of those stuff we've seen earlier this year on Netflix as far as Netflix movies. So,
Fair.
yeah, I mean that's all you can really say, right? I mean, like I said, it's got some good action. Gal Gadot is pretty good, right? It's just who she is. It's not deviating too far from, her bag of tricks.
Exactly. Stick to what you know and do it well.
Yeah, exactly.
Nothing wrong with that. It is what it is.
Yeah.
So
hey, she's getting paid. Everyone's got to eat, so it's all good.
If you gotta eat, everyone's gotta eat. But like I said, you can do worse about doing it. It's like I said, entertaining film, and that's all you can ask for from Netflix, right? Because it doesn't fall in the 30% garbage, so that's a good thing. But again, not bad. But definitely, who cloned Tyrone? Is that the title?
They cloned Tyrone. Yeah,
Tyrone. That one's it's really good. The more I think about the film, the more well done that was. And I really enjoyed it. Again on Netflix on that one. Show. Let's start with Winning Time on Max, formerly known as HBO Max. Max, the place to get HBO. When I call it HBO Max. So Winning Time, of course, enter his second season, dropping his first episode, of course, every Sunday. The marquee lineup on Sunday, of course, of the show. Of course, it's chronicling the times of the early 80s, late 70s, early 80s Lakers, beginning of the dynasty in the 80s, of course, and Magic Johnson, the rivalry with Larry Bird, which pretty much carried and saved the NBA. It is what it is. Entertaining show. Adam McKay, who I think maybe directed some episodes. I liked the first season. First season was a big surprise. Didn't expect a whole lot. It's very, very good. Funny. It's incredibly well paced. Very visual in terms of the presentation. And sometimes it looks like it's vintage 70s kind of footage, 80s kind of footage. Give the authenticity. Is it Riley? What's this guy's name? The main guy, Jerry Buss. God.
Charles Wright? No.
John C. Reilly.
Michael? John C. Reilly,
yeah, he's great as Jerry Buss. He's fantastic in this one. Look, the second season comes up, and the second season started in '84. First season.
Well, it starts in '84.
It's in '84, right? At the beginning, right?
Yeah.
About first time, like, whoa, we're skipping. Okay, we're going this deep already.
'84 was the finals against the Celtics that they lost, right? Or
right, yeah, the first.
They start off with game one where they won the first game at the old Boston Garden.
But they end up losing that series. That was the one they called Tragic Johnson, where he choked it up in game 6, game 7. It was really bad. The first time they met in the finals, but then they go back to right after they won, where the first season left off.
Season. So they go to season 2.
Right, and I was like, oh, okay, that makes more sense. There's a lot of stuff that you can't just skip all the way there. But again, listen, good show, entertaining show. It was only one episode. I like what they gave us. It's a very entertaining show. Whether you like basketball or not, I think it's irrelevant. Chew, your thoughts.
No, man. Again, it's a very good fictionalized retelling of that era in sports history, right? Mm-hmm. Again, the broad strokes are true, right? They're not saying, that they won 10 championships. So it's not, So it's still keeping our history.
There's still a sense of accuracy on the show.
But the key events and conversations and the events in between were fictionalized and in some cases made up, right? Just for dramatic TV purposes. Okay. But still highly entertaining. Even if you're not a fan of the Lakers or basketball, I think you still find this show very entertaining and enjoyable to watch. Because again, it's all around Magic Johnson and the Lakers, and it was a fun time in the '80s in LA and being
their dynamic with Kareem when you first, as a rookie coming and dealing with him, who was the man, right, back in those times.
He's Cap.
Yeah, and then obviously Larry Bird, very cool, and I like Adrian Brody as Pat Riley is great in it as well, and then I forget I said a Marshall guy, I forgot his name, Jason Segel. As Paul Westhead, he's kind of funny in that. Good show. Definitely recommend. Again, HBO on Sunday nights. This next one I was really excited about as well, and that's season 3, Only Murders in the Building. my second favorite comedy on TV, of course, right after Ted Lasso on Apple Plus. This one coming its third season. Steve Martin, Selena Gomez, Martin Short, who is brilliant in the show here. Kicking off, with now
Paul
after the
Rudd.
events of the second one, Paul Rudd, who of course is Ant-Man, but more importantly, we know as the star of Cobra, one of the
Oh,
greatest
bro.
fictional shows no one's ever seen.
Yeah.
The half Cobra, half man, phenomenal. So I'm hoping we get footage of Cobra in this show. I really do. We got
What was the other show he did? Was it
High
Police Girl
Five or
or I
something.
don't
Well,
know. Yeah,
police girl, whatever.
yeah.
Very
She
funny.
was utterly ridiculous as
Yeah,
well.
it's so ridiculous, but it's fantastic. Meryl Streep is in this, who the one of the goat, maybe the goat, one of the great guys of all time, greatest female, one of the best overall actors. Period. She's in here and she has a great reading that they has in the first episode.
Oh, it's
Yeah,
hilarious.
she's great. Yeah, she can do comedy. She can do anything. She's fun. She's the best. It is what it is. But yeah, so entering the season, another mystery, of course, in the building. The kind of after the events of the first
They,
season, it was
they,
like,
they, they pulled they pulled the rug on us where we thought we saw the murder at the closing of
yeah,
season
when
two.
season two ended off and it wasn't, so they can only have it in the building, so now it makes sense. So podcast ensuing. Listen, 2 episodes dropped. What can you say about the show, dude? We haven't said already. It's great. It's so delightful. It's funny. It's very smart in its writing, which is so key in a show like this. It's not just funny for the sake of being funny. The mystery is always good. A lot of red herrings. You don't know what's going on. And even now it's starting to lay that foundation. I heard it gets really, really good towards the second half of the season. That being said, yeah, this has been a must watch. Nothing's changed. Chewy.
No, absolutely not. I think I like where they're trying to they do some different things each season, right?
Mm-hmm.
And a musical number, which is pretty funny.
Yeah.
But the characters are still developing and evolving, right? Obviously, we're at the position where the two older gentlemen are become very close because of this,
Mm-hmm.
and the Selena Gomez character kind of feels left out because she's at the point where she's ready to move on, but she's obviously there's a dynamic because it's a bunch two different generations. Maybe three different
Right.
generations.
Probably three. Yeah.
Jump between the characters. And so they're using this as a means to try to keep them together, still be involved in each other's lives, right? Which as you grow up and you grow older, these are things that happen with you. You lose touch, out of sight, out of mind, and so it's good to see that dynamic and that internal turmoil within one of the characters as far as how she wants to still be connected with them, still keeping the comedy theme, still keeping it smart and enjoyable, but showing growth with the characters and where this is eventually this is gonna end at some point. We know that it's
Well,
not gonna go
obviously,
on
yeah.
indefinitely.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
and
it'll be a sad day when that happens.
yes,
But until then, we gotta enjoy it. Like I said, I don't know if another season coming out or not. I haven't heard anything. Maybe there is. I don't know. I just heard rumblings. It might be the last one.
I know this.
You
I
know.
don't know. This hasn't been announced the last season, but
Okay.
this will be Steve Martin's last
Oh no, yeah,
last
he's
go around
retiring.
for
Yeah,
sure.
he's retiring after he.
Whenever this ends, is
Right.
then he's
Then he's
done.
done. So, which is great way to go out, right? Jordan-esque. Leaving us retiring the second time anyway. But no, I must watch. This is so good. Such a great show. I love this show so much. Next one, moving. This one, Disney Plus, really Hulu here.
Hey,
I think
Hulu,
other
yeah.
parts of the country. I was looking at Disney Plus. I'm like, what the hell's going on? I don't see it.
No, yeah, it's on Hulu.
Yes, I
Yeah.
went to Hulu and I was like, oh, of course, because it's a South Korean show, not really done by Disney, so that's already on the plus side. Disney was too busy raising prices again on their streamer. I think it's almost double what it started out with. So damn bastards.
That much? Wow.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
like $14, almost double, not quite, but it's 14 now. It started at
No.
8.
Oh,
So
okay.
yeah, so it's and they raised the price twice in the last 8 months. It's excessive. It's a lot. But that being said, they give you the less content and they give you charge you more. Go figure. Fucking Disney. Either way, so moving. So this is actually on Hulu here in the States anyway. I think other sites, because Hulu and Disney are more combined outside the country, overseas in Europe and all that. So either way, South Korean show dealing with almost like if you remember Heroes way back in the day. We have
Oh,
these
yes.
kids who have abilities. Examples of the
Save the
main
cheerleaders, save
characters.
the world.
Yeah, exactly. His abilities, that kid can float, kind of fly, kind of. I don't know. The other girl's got a lot of strength or whatever the case is, and there's something going on to where I guess someone's hunting people down who have these abilities, and whatever the case is. Then
Well,
dropping.
I mean, Hunting. He's been assigned to go. Someone's assigning him to go and find these these specials and take them out, right?
Right.
I'm not sure they're part of an organization, if he's part of an organization, if he's just independent contractor, but there's something going on. And so that's where the groundwork of this story takes place from.
Right. And grind it is because I think it dropped like 7 episodes. It's gonna be like 18. It's a lot.
I thought it was only 11. I saw 11.
I
Is
heard
it
18.
18?
I heard.
Oh
That's what I
wow.
heard. That's what I heard.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I heard. And they dropped.
Okay.
I think they dropped the first seven, then one every week, and the last week, the last three will get dropped simultaneously as well.
I saw two, but two next
Yeah.
week, two this week, two next week. So that's fine.
Oh, I got you. Yeah. Well, either way.
I mean,
So.
yeah, they dropped seven, but I saw
Oh,
two coming
okay.
up
I
this week
got you.
and two coming out next week. So it's
Okay.
another four.
Understood. So yeah. So I saw the three and I'm out. I had a chance to see
It's
more.
very slow.
Yeah.
It is it is
Exactly.
it is way too slow.
Big time. Big
For its
time.
own good. It's the story elements the groundwork is there, the foundation's there,
Agreed.
but they're just taking so
Oh
long
my God.
on focusing on the individual daily lives of somebody of the kids that it's like it's unnecessary. It's like why? Just get to introduce them, get us a little bit back, and then go get to the meat and
That's what
potatoes.
I'm
There,
saying. Because you
well,
can, there's a way to do
I'm
both.
still waiting for my water, dude.
No, I know.
Not even the appetizer, my damn water.
Like I said, I've seen three, and it's the same thing, right? Status quo, and which is why my issue when you have shows that are, if this is true, 18 episodes or whatever, because then it's taking its time to get there. It just takes too much time. I still don't know what's going on. Like I don't know what the story is, honestly. And that's 3 episodes in. That's
I
not
mean,
the
the
way it
best
should be.
part of the show is when we get to the fighting and
Right. There's some cool,
the
cool moments
assassins,
with,
right?
with the guy who's chasing down or whatever. These
But
other,
when we
the other
get to focus on the kids, it's like, it's so drawn out.
Yeah,
It's
which is not,
so
90% of the show is that, and it's like it's slow. It's like I said, I don't know what's going on. By 3 episodes, you have to know something. We have to know what's, and we don't, and that's just, I'm sorry, I don't got time for that. And there's 18 episodes, this could drag on. So unfortunate, because you're right, there's a good show in there. There really is.
it is,
Good
but
premise. But yeah,
yeah.
it's painstakingly slow. It really, I'm disappointed. I wanted something more out of the show. I can't honestly recommend even try it. I just don't think it's worth it at all. Particularly with that many episodes, it's too much. It's too much. You gotta engage this from the get go. If you're gonna be 18 episodes, man, that shit better be good from the beginning to have me stick around that long. This ain't it.
Anyway,
Last one we got on Netflix, Painkiller. This was a limited series, 6 episodes, starring Ferris Bueller himself. Matthew Broderick, of course, playing one of the Doctor. Was it Richard Sattler?
Richard Sackler, yeah.
Okay. Stackler, of course, who heads the from back in 2000s Purdue Pharma, who was infamous for their painkiller OxyContin. Of course, was released and caused epidemic. People overdosing like crazy. 500,000 people died, more or less. And the addictions, and et cetera, et cetera. And of course, all about their greed and trying to sell the product, which they knew was harmful to those who took it. It's all well documented. Obviously, this one we had one recently on Hulu, which was great. Dope Sick on Hulu, which is really good with Michael Keaton.
Dropsick was excellent with
Yeah,
Rosario Dawson.
exactly. So yeah,
Michael Keaton is one of the doctors.
yeah. This
I
one
mean,
takes a different
yeah.
approach in terms of what the story is, how it's telling it, and definitely its presentation. It's a lot more kind of Adam McKay mentioned in Winning Time, more like that, more like The Big Short, that kind of style, very fast, and some oddball things that they do and all that. The story, the essence of the story is the same, right? We know what's going on.
Yeah, main characters doesn't change, right?
Right, of course. The
And
names stay the same.
I
But,
think this one does a better job versus Dopesick of really diving into the Purdue Pharma history and motivations for what they did, right?
that's fair. That's fair.
Because the Dopesick didn't focus. It did, but it didn't, right? It didn't give us much of history. It didn't give us anything
Yeah,
about
Dope Sick
Arthur Sackler,
was a harder
how
look at
he
this.
developed his original company and
Yeah.
his vision or his science of selling drugs, right? And how that came about. And he became successful, not uber successful, where Richard Sackler took it and took it to the moon. But
Of course, right.
but the science, but how he developed it and marketed, and it became a marketing and selling company more than a health company, or to be quite honest.
Company making
right?
billions of dollars, billions.
Yes.
Yes. Making
Yes.
money
Yeah.
hand over
Exactly.
fist. It's crazy. Because Dope Sick was. I like Dope Sick better. I think it was a better made show, a little more hard hitting,
Yes.
a little
Absolutely.
more intimate by far. This was
Absolutely.
more.
Yes.
This is more flash, right? More style over substance. Not necessarily that's a bad thing, but if you're gonna compare one to the other, this is a clearly inferior show. But if you haven't seen Dope Sick and unfamiliar with what happened here, this is one I definitely recommend. If you've seen Dope Sick, I don't know if this is, you need to watch this, to be honest with you. I just essentially the same story. I just told it a bit differently.
Mm-hmm.
But if you haven't seen Dope Sick, and I don't think a lot of people have, maybe they have, this was actually worth a good watch. Matthew Broderick's really great in this one as Statler. It's really well done. I enjoyed it. Sackler. I guess Statler. Really well done. Very enjoyable. The presentation, a lot of times works, and it's good. I liked it. It just wasn't Dope Sick, and we've seen it, so we have. It's hard not to compare one to the other because it's essentially the same show, but it's good. I found it entertaining for the 6 episode run. I like it. It's definitely still sparks that emotion. Like, man, this sucked. That really sucked them. What they did and what they got away with, whatever the case is. Like, yeah, so it draws that out.
But there was a lot. There was a lot. I mean, so obviously you guys start at the top, right? And where this comes about, but the means that they went through to ultimately, convince the world that this was a safe and beneficial product, right?
Yeah.
And the marketing campaign, and this was all literally a marketing campaign. There was no science behind it.
Oh no, yeah, of course, using
But
the sales force with the big part pushing it
yes,
and what they did,
pushing,
yeah,
wordplay, semantics, right?
of course,
Like I think they emphasized this in episode 3 where they got the FDA to approve it because it said, they put 2 words: believe is believed.
right.
Not that it does, it is believed. And she said
right,
it
yeah.
by who? Who believes?
Exactly. I think Dope Sick dove more into that part of it in terms of.
Yes,
Like I said,
absolutely.
they took different approaches, which is good, right? I mean, you can't watch both, of course. But yeah, just don't expect similar shows in terms of quality. This was a step down, but it's still good, man. I enjoyed it. I actually did enjoy it. It's very entertaining. I was like, okay, if I hadn't seen Dope Sick, I probably would like this even more, personally. But seeing what a different angle we got, it's like, okay, it kind of diminishes this show. But again, still watchable. I enjoyed it. 6 episodes. If you're not familiar with that, and this is all recent. I mean, I think the ruling came down 2 years ago, maybe
Well,
less than that.
the ruling, yes, but now it's on hold because
Well,
I
of
think
course it is.
Supreme Court stepped in.
Yeah. Well,
And
naturally.
I think that obviously that someone's looking at the deal, right, and what's going on because it's yeah.
Right. So
Is it enough? Probably not.
no, it's not. Obviously not enough. But
Especially when
yeah.
they pulled billions out before
Oh yeah.
they
I
settled,
mean,
and so you knew there was
yeah, it's a drop in the bucket as much as it
yeah.
is. I'm sure. I don't care who you are. $4 point something dollars is still a lot of freaking money. No matter what, right? I don't care how much money you have. That's a lot. But they come on. They have 4 or 5 times that without breaking a sweat. Without question. So it's still ongoing. So it's very current. So that's just a good show to watch to kind of understand exactly what this all meant, particularly if you're a little bit younger. So that's it for this week. I said, so not a lot of stuff. There's some okay things in there. Next week, not a big week again. We got on the 14th on Hulu. We have Solar Opposites. I think
We're going to Hulu land.
season 4. I don't know what season they're in. 3.
Season 3, I
3.
think.
Okay.
Yes.
So that comes out, of course, from the
With the new voice of
the new voice as what's his
new
face.
more Justin Roiland.
Yeah, he got canceled. Of course, Rick and Morty. So that comes out on the 14th. We got on the 18th. Everything else is on the 18th. So it's not everything's on a Friday. I hate when they do that shit. So we have The Chosen One. This is, I believe, a Spanish show on Netflix. It sounds interesting. A kid who has, Jesus Christ-like abilities. He learns it, and now when once that gets out, everybody wants a taste. You know what I'm saying? From the kid, and the kid's in a position where he's trying to deal with the fact that he's got these abilities and what to do with them. Looks interesting. I get on Netflix on the 18th. Another one, a Korean show I cut wind of here. It's called Masked Girl. Very adult-oriented, adult-only show, a South Korean show, dealing with a woman who, has like a masked personality online and really has 3 different personalities, 3 different lives, different murders by each of the individuals that she portrays. So it's interesting. It's a very twisty and turny kind of show. It looks very fascinating again on Netflix on the 18th. On Amazon, we got Shelter. It's based off a book series, which I am totally unfamiliar with. I guess a kid who moves into a small town. One of the kids in the high school goes missing or dies or whatever. They start undigging the mystery behind it with his friends and uncover, the usual stuff you get from these kind of like murder mystery kind of show, right? Something like that. Joey, am I wrong? And that's kind of what it is.
I thought there was a little bit of art element to the show as well. Obviously, I've seen one of the trailers, so
Okay, well, that's good. That's a plus.
yeah, it
That's a plus.
had a horror feel to it, but
Okay.
maybe that's the reason I another show. I gotta wait.
Okay,
Watch
yeah,
and
but that
see.
comes on the 18th, so I'm looking forward to that. And then technically this is the week after, but what the hell? It's Sunday. It's
I
close
know.
enough. It's the Winter King on MGM Plus. So all you 8 people, well 7, I can't call Chewy that. MGM should be very excited, I guess. The Winter King on MGM is a period piece. It seems like a King Arthur kind of take on
Yes, that
kind
is correct,
of
sir.
thing. So which
Yes.
is interesting. I like that subject matter. So it's big like sword fighting, etc., etc.
Mhm.
MGM's got good shows. It really does.
They make
Yeah,
very good
they do.
shows. I mean, very few, but they make. I mean, there's one on right now called Domina, which is obviously based on Roman history around Augustus Caesar's reign, which is very good. And that was season 2, but I was waiting for this show to come out before I get back on MGM so I could watch both
Yeah,
shows.
that the horror show is
And
really good on what it's called. Not
from yeah,
from
that was a
very
very good show.
yeah, I heard it's
Yes,
very good. And Godfather Harlem,
Harlem was excellent
excellent show. You
show.
can catch that on Hulu. The first 3 seasons are
Mm-hmm.
on there. That's a great watch. The Forrest Whitaker, fantastic show. But yeah, so Winter King that next week. So again, not a big week, but there's a couple potentially hidden gems for the most part. That being said, that's all we have for this week. So thanks again for joining us. Don't forget every Sunday, like and subscribe. Hit the notification bell to let you guys know when the show or the reviews. We got Nurse Spinning on Thursdays getting dropped. And we'll see you guys
Sometimes
next
Monday,
week. Sometimes on
sometimes
Mondays,
Friday.
sometimes Mondays, sometimes Friday. Depends. We're very, very fluid with Nurse Planning. You never know. But that being said, appreciate it. See you guys next week.
Peace.